Welcome to Crisis Counseling. This week I've been feeling like I've been needing some crisis counseling. It's been a rough week in our house. Kind of started Sunday night. I got a phone call that informed me that one of my close childhood friends had died in a boating accident over the weekend, along with a request that I would officiate the funeral, of course, and it'll be a small family funeral with also a live stream for those who can't attend. So I've been working on that this week, talking to some friends and family of my friend, and it's been hard. That was the news I got Sunday night. Tuesday, we received word that Sarah's grandmother was on her deathbed. Turns out she'd actually been sick for a while but hadn't told us, as grandmas sometimes do that. They don't want people worrying about them. So we got the news on Tuesday, Wednesday morning, we got the news that and she in fact did pass away. And as far as her arrangements, everything is very much up in the air right now. So between COVID-19 and just the stress of schedule changes and at-home schooling and everything, then these things hit us this week. And maybe you can relate to, if not this week, at some point in your life, having a week where it's like, hey, God, can I catch a break here? Maybe stretch things out a little bit at least so I don't have to deal with all of this stuff at once. When you start to think about that, you can't help but think of Job, right? I opened my Bible to Job chapter 1. There was a day, I'm reading verse 13, there was a day when Job's sons and daughters were eating and drinking, and there came a messenger to Job, and said, the oxen were plowing, and the donkeys feeding beside them, and the Sabeans fell upon them, and took them, and struck down the servants with the edge of the sword, and I alone have escaped to tell you. While he was yet speaking, there came another. Before the first guy gets done delivering this message, another guy comes and said, the fire of God fell from heaven and burned up the sheep and the servants and consumed them, and I alone have escaped to tell you. While he was yet speaking, a third came and said, the Chaldeans formed 3 groups and made a raid on the camels and took them and struck down the servants with the edge of the sword, and I alone have escaped to tell you. And while he was still speaking, there came another and said, your sons and daughters were eating and drinking wine in their oldest brother's house, and behold, a great wind came across the wilderness and struck the 4 corners of the house, and it fell upon the young people, and they are dead, and I alone have escaped to tell you. Yeah, that's a rough day. The loss that Job experienced in this single day, just unfathomable. So how did Job deal with that? Then Job arose and tore his robe and shaved his head. This is out of grief. Some of us may need to shave our head pretty soon if we don't get barbershops open. But not to make light of this, but Job is suffering here. He's despairing even. And he falls on the ground and worshipped. He prays to the same God who could have prevented all of this. And he said, naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked shall I return. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. In all this, Job did not sin or charge God with wrong. That's just chapter 1 of Job. Things go on from there in many ways. And at one point, Job's wife says, why don't you just curse God and die? And Job still doesn't curse God. Job's not too happy with God at certain points, but he never does curse God. And this attitude that he has here in Job chapter 1, the attitude is, I don't deserve anything. Everything that's been given to me is a blessing from God that I didn't earn, that I don't deserve. And therefore, if it's suddenly taken away from me, well, I'm not going to be happy about it, but I'm also not going to say to God that he did something evil here. I'm going to be sad, but I'm not going to sin against God or charge God with any wrongdoing. If we could all have this attitude, right? Sometimes it's easier said than done, but to have this attitude of Job, to be able to say, I don't deserve anything, Isaac,
Hi.
to be able to say, and what a blessing I have here right behind me, right? Let's not take our little blessings for granted, that no matter what negative happened in my life this week. I got a 7-year-old boy, 3 other boys too, but a little cute 7-year-old boy who'll crawl up behind me and want to see what I'm doing and want to be in the background of the videos that I'm making. Can't put a price on that, right? But yeah, the idea being that everything we have is an undeserved gift from God, and if we happen to lose it, and whatever we may lose during this present crisis, it's quite possible that some of us will lose things we will not get back, because of the physical and economic devastation of this current crisis. Things that we were counting on having, we just might not have in our life. And yet, we didn't deserve them to begin with. They were a gift from God. The Lord gives, the Lord takes away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Now, at the end of this book, at the end of Job, he has given back what he had lost. Even his lost children, he knows that he will see them again in heaven one day. He knows all things will be restored. And this is the hope for us as well in our time of loss, to recognize the promise that God makes, that there is a restoration coming. This Easter season reminds us of this. Even though death is still wreaking havoc in this world, disease and death are having their day right now, and yet Christ is risen. And the assurance that Christ's resurrection brings to us is that there is a greater restoration to come, that all things that we have lost that are meaningful will be restored to us one day. Until then, we say the Lord gives, the Lord takes away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. And if it gets really bad, I'll have to shave my head. Still will say, blessed be the name of the Lord. Think about my little Ephraim, my baby who has very little hair right now. And naked I come from my mother's womb, naked I shall return. The Lord gives, the Lord takes away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Amen.